Hello, ladies and gentlemen and ladies. I got a couple things going on here. I stopped by at the Home Depot to pick up some cleaning supplies, and happened to notice that all of the fertilizer that I told you I was finding on sale, like um, this here was usually sells for about $6. I got it for 60 cents. So something like that, I wouldn't pass up. But a lot of times I just make my own fertilizer, um, my own fertilizer, and it helps out a great deal. And I always try to get my own fertilizer. But here's what I do. I use a combination of fertilizers. I said to you earlier, part of last year, and the year before that, and the year before that, I use weeds and grass, 32-gallon receptacle, trash can. Um, And what I do is I put the weeds in and I allow them to, you know, do their own thing, marinate, if you will, for a period of about 3 weeks, and I start using it. It's that simple. You must use rubber gloves when you're using this because if you allow it to get on your hands, it will cause itching, could cause rashes. I'm not, but I have that tough leather skin, so it doesn't bother me too much. But it does make me itch sometimes, and so to avoid all that, I just use rubber gloves come up to my wrist. Now I dip it out and I add it to the hole before I put the fertilizer in. I put the liquid in, allow it to saturate through the ground, and once I do that, then I simply put in some of the native soil, and then I put in some of the other amendments that I'm going to put in, like a fertilizer, cornmeal. I mean, excuse me, not cornmeal, but I put some lime in, and I put some blood meal and bone meal, and then I put all-purpose fertilizer. And I think I might have mentioned that already. And I put in also some Epsom salt, and I cover all that over with about an inch and a half of soil, and then I set the plant right on top of it. And the reason why I like doing that it helps the plant to grow, but also it is a great thing for me because I love to watch the plant pop out of the ground like it's crazy. I love that. But I think I'm gonna do something a little different this year. Instead of sprinkling the fertilizer on the top once I get all the soil in, I think I'm gonna add one of these garden spikes in. Ooh, ooh! I just opened this bag up. God have mercy, this smells. This smells bad, and that's what's in there. And you shove this little puppy in the ground about 4 to 6 inches away from your plant, and it says, "Yeah, that's fertilizer, all right." Smell like it's from the farming industry. You know, feathers and chicken, stuff and everything. But yeah, it smells like poultry. So this is what I use. Put it next to the plant. It says it's supposed to feed all season. Bada boom, bada bang. I want to try this out this year. I don't have any shot. Try this out this year. Now look, I'm not showing you this to say go get this. I'm not doing that. That's not why I'm doing it. It just was something. Yeah, it smells bad. It's something that was in my way without shopping and found these for 60 cents a bag. Because there's no way in hell I would pay $3. I mean $6 for this. I wouldn't do it. Um, so there was a good person that was online and they looked out and they gave me some information. They said the containers you have outside, in order to stop the cats from digging in them, try to cover them over with some kind of wire. And she just came up with that like that, and I appreciate it. If she's out there listening, I appreciate what she said because it helped me out immensely because I wasn't thinking on that level at the time. Um, what I'm doing here, I got to get a pot for these today. That's garlic from the refrigerator. I just went in the refrigerator and picked it out and started growing it. And it started growing on its own. Doesn't need a lot of light. Found that out. All it wants to do is live. So I'm gonna put it in a pot and try to overwinter it until it gets time enough to plant it in the actual earth. But look how it grew. I mean, my goodness. Put that in the camera. Look at that. That's garlic. And it smells like fresh garlic. And also I got these growing. They're torn pretty good. These are peppers. Overwintered, and that's what I'm doing. Overwintering these peppers. And they don't start leafing out and everything, and I don't want them to do that. But the trick is with peppers is not to overwater it. Not to overwater it. That's what you don't want to do. You don't want to overwater this, because if you overwater this, it's going to die on you. The roots are going to rot, and you see your plant slowly go right behind it. Plants need their roots. So I don't overwater. I just give it enough water, and once I give it that water, I make certain that this plant is not overwatered. The key is what? Not to overwater it. This is beautiful. No fragrance or anything like that, but I'll be so happy when 3 months is up and these go back in the ground. Well, these go in the ground, and once they do their job. And that's my thing. I love it. This gardening thing has got a hold of me. Um, got a good friend out there. He's been making videos on the bull. I want to just make sure I get that. The bull, the gardener, the bull. And he has been out there and putting his garden together, showing you a lot of information on compost, which I think that's a valuable piece of information all of us can use and have, is to know that plants eat plants primarily. So you want to make certain that they definitely get enough of the organic matter in the soil. If you could remember that one important thing about soil is that put in the organic matter and don't worry about any of the rest, because that's the key. That's the whole key. People keep forgetting that. They say, no, if I give it a little bit of organic matter, no, load that soil up with organic matter is the key. Load it up. And that's what you want to do. You can't put too much organic matter in your soil. In fact, if you could get a hold to a supply where you could just load that soil up with the. Now, some people say to me, why don't you till? The only way, if I were to till, it would be initially to add a ton of organic matter to my soil. After that, I wouldn't till anymore. But I would want to go down about a foot and a half and just pump in a ton of organic matter, from leaves to wood chip, whatever it took. And then what it's going to do, eventually it's going to rob the soil of all of its nitrogen. So nothing will grow there until that nitrogen returns. And another thing you can do, if you say, well, I need to grow there, you just lay everything on top. It's called cover crops. If you just cover the ground with whether it be straw, grass, leaves, wood chips. If it's organic, cover the ground with it and allow the ground to do one thing, is to hold on and grow you stuff. And then the organic matter will return to that soil. The life will return to that soil. Oh, hello, Miss Miller. She's out there. The thing about it is adding the organic matter, tons of it. Don't. Oh my God, I can't express that enough. You don't want to say, oh, I think I'm adding too much. You don't want to do that. Even if you were to set wood chips on top, a foot and a half of wood chips. If you can get down to the soil, you haven't added too many. You add enough. Most people put about 6 to 8 inches of wood chips on top. I was putting 9 on top of mine, and I still got to look for another supply of them. But I want to get a steady supply. There was a video I watched today that showed a guy that was. He said he's going to take the compost pile. He's going to move it. Once it finished cooking at one point, he's going to move it, and I wish I can't do that no more. I don't want to do that no more. To keep moving compost piles. It's too much work for me. All I want to do is take the stuff, put it on the ground, and leave it, and let the whole ground be the compost pile. I don't want to be moving it from the compost pile, putting it on the ground. I want to just spread it out all over the ground and leave it there. I tell people that because when the leaves finally all fall, and if you could get a hold of a supply of leaves, I would put them on the ground about 3 feet deep all over, 3 feet deep. Time summer comes, that stuff will go down to about 12 to 18 inches tall from the ground, with it all mat down, and then you would just pull it, away from the soil and plant your item right there. Guess what's going to happen? When you start digging in this stuff, you're going to see so many worms in that soil that you're going to know for a fact that you're doing the right thing. When you see the earthworms in there partying, eating up everything, excreting their waste materials, other biology in the soil increasing. That's how you do it. Yep. I don't know where you got that from, but that's how you do it. That's how you do it. I see people now, some of them still piling up compost piles. I don't have time for that. Then once it breaks down, it gets heavy, and you're putting it in buckets, you're trying to carry that stuff around, or in those wheelbarrows, and it's like you're digging and you're working twice when all you could have did is just spread it out over the ground and just leave it there. Somebody else comes to you, I got a whole ton of leaves. You want them? Oh, if you can get about 800-900 pounds of leaves, you setting pretty. You spread it out all over the ground. It's going to look crazy. It's going to seem crazy over the ground. You're working. You're doing right. Because the stuff that most of us do is not growing anyway. It's not growing the way it should because they're trying to grow things in clay soil, sandy soil, and it's no biology in the soil that's enough to feed those plants. The plants can only eat food that is prepped up for them. Whether it's all got to be in a liquid form. They're not eating solid foods. Oh my goodness, you doing all the right stuff, Miss Miller. You doing all the right stuff. Your plant's going to jump out of the ground when it comes spring and summer. As soon as you put the seed in the ground, they're going to just start coming up. Because with that chicken waste sprinkled all over, I mean, you got it made right there. You got it made right there. I wish I had that kind of waste. If I had that chicken waste, um, and if you could get to, if you don't own a farm, if you could get to a place that's called a Craigslist and just ask around, is there a farm nearby where I can come get free chicken manure? And they'll tell you, yeah, come get it. Please come get it. And you go over there with a pickup truck and load that sucker up with chicken manure. Oh my God, you got it made. You got it made. As long as you don't live in an area where you drive your neighbors crazy with the smell, um, I don't have that problem. You put the chicken manure down, you put the leaves down, you put the wood chips, you can get a hold of them. You put somebody got some property, got some spoiled hay on the property, you put that down, and you just leave that stuff. Just leave it, just mound it up, just cover the whole ground where you are growing from, and you got it set. You got it set. You can be looking so pretty. And the thing about it, Mr. Miller, is that where is it? Wait a minute. Yeah, they'll eat that absolutely. Rabbit is another one that if you can get his waste is a plus. There's a gentleman I talked about earlier in the video. It's called the Bull Gardener, and he raises rabbits, and he don't have a lot of rabbits, but he has some rabbits. So the waste materials is what, if he had about 10 or 12 rabbits, the waste materials is what he needs. Yeah, rabbit poo is a cooler fertilizer, absolutely. Chicken waste will not burn your garden if you put it there in the fall and winter. Time it comes around for spring and summer, it's all cooled down. But it's very high in nitrogen. You want to grow. Here's the deal. I tell people, you want to grow. Anyone can grow a garden. This is fact. You want to grow food that's highly dense in nutrients. Always remember that. Highly dense in nutrients. Once you do that, your tomatoes will be sweet. Your beans will be sweet. They'll be very high in sugars because they're getting the proper diet. So to grow a watermelon, for instance, and grow it, it's very sweet, means that it got exactly what it needed. If it's not sweet, it's lacking something. So it didn't get the proper sugars in its system built up. So always know that when you do your gardening, is that the whole thing about it is to feed the soil. Don't worry about the plants. Don't worry about the plants. Feed the soil. That's the key. That is the key. Have the soil there fed, and the biology will be in the soil, and the biology will feed your plant. Peppers, sweet, crunchy, uh, beautiful size, color. Uh, that tells you what's going on. When you want to read your garden, always look at the leaves on your plants. If they're not dark green, if they're not waxy, dark green, you got some issues going on. But the leaves will tell you first before it gets really serious. A healthy plant is dark green leaves with a waxy coating on them. That's a defense that's on the leaves to kind of keep the bugs from eating them. Now, when you use things like Miracle Grow, for instance, the plants grow so fast that they are tender, and bugs like tender plants because they're not growing within their own time frame the way you're supposed to grow. They're not growing right. They're growing too fast. And when that happens, bugs eat them. When plants get hungry and you're not watering them or you're not feeding them properly, and they start sending out a distress signal that they're dying, bugs eat them. Bugs are basically nature's clean up crew. That's what they are. And when a plant is dying or sick or diseased, bugs eat them. Healthy plants don't get eaten. They don't get eaten. Miss Miller, you doing all the right stuff though. See, you doing all the right stuff. You already know how to garden. You're doing all the right stuff. You don't even need this show. You don't need this show because you're doing all the right stuff. Um, the 20 pumpkins on one vine tells you you're doing all the right stuff. When you mention about putting down 12 inches of wood chips, you're already doing all the right stuff. You you don't need this program. Um, but oh, thank you. But um, the everything you're doing is in the right fashion to grow what you need. You find things that grow well in your area, and you stick with those. You stick with those. You only grow things that you need, that you like, and then you always um, definitely grow things that are expensive to buy in the stores. Like I wouldn't grow lettuce because I don't eat lettuce that much, and lettuce is pretty cheap to buy in my area. It's pretty cheap to buy. But if it's peppers, I'll grow watermelon. I can't eat them watermelons from Walmart. Sometimes they're sweet, sometimes they're not. They're small and they're very expensive. I might try to put some seeds in the ground, maybe in February before it's time to put them out. Let them grow up nice and big, and then put them in a very rich, sandy like soil and have them grow. Let them grow and do their thing. Yep, this is how you want to do it. Yeah, I have to because I made my promise to myself to keep those trees small. Oh, something I want to throw out there real quick. I saw what they're doing in some of the seed stores and also some of the tree stores online where they're selling dwarf trees. I refuse to buy trees that they're calling a sale, and it's not a sale. I'm looking at them. There's no sale there. They may have knocked off 50 cents off of a tree that's almost $30. Um, I would buy a tree only if I had to buy it, if I wanted something and I had to have that tree. But you know, they're selling them for almost the same. They're not really selling these trees very cheap. They know that they're valuable. They know that the market is changing. That people are starting to grow as much food as they can. They realize it's a state of emergency. They're slowly walking up on us when we see television telling us not to buy lettuce and that sort of thing over the line. People dying when they eat stuff from the grocery store. Um, no, I don't think that. I don't think you should be taking a chance a salmonella in foods. Grow it yourself. Grow as much of it as you can, and it empowers you to know that when you go to a grocery store, if you see some apples that are almost uh, $2 a piece, that you can go home and know your tree is full of apples, and you'll have plenty of apples when it hits near the fall. That's a very very good feeling when you know you have some control over nutrition in your house. When you have children and grandchildren that can look at you and say, "Grandma grows her own apples. Grandma grows her own peaches. Grandma know how to grow food. Grandma know how to grow collard greens." That's a good feeling to take them out in the yard and have a grandson or granddaughter out there picking tomatoes with you, picking cucumbers with you. They're looking and seeing how it's done. They're seeing you surviving, and when they get older, they'll tie the two together, and they say, "Oh, I got to have me a place with a garden too, because Grandma had a garden, Granddad had a garden." Well, you're doing a great thing because I have all these beautiful grafting tools, and I think I used them a few times, and then I got frustrated, and I said, "There's something I'm doing wrong." And I found out that the pros, the people who do it for a living, the farmers, they use masking tape. You got YouTube people on there telling you to use electrical tape, and I'm not saying it don't work because I believe it works, but the pros are using masking tape. The same stuff you use in school, masking tape, and it's a tape that they use, and I got to figure out how the scion, how to handle the scion that I'm trying to do with. And usually I put it on there and it dries up and it dies, or it's already dead when I put it on there. And I said, I don't know what I'm doing. So I think what I want to do is just get some real information and work from there, because I have a what they call it what they call that tree. It's called a cherry tree, and it's a tree that produces cherries without a second tree. So I'm trying to take some of that over and graft some of the limbs into those two trees that are maybe 50 feet away, and it'll have its own partner there to cross with, and that's what I want to do because like my apples, they were so young this year that only one or two of them blossomed, and when it did, I thought I said, well, how's this tree crossing? Where's it crossing from? And I found maybe some blocks away a whole row of apple trees that the city put in. That's where I'm crossing from because those bees will fly down there and fly up here, and that's where they're crossing from. Now this year I should have more trees that are crossed. Now this exacto knife you speak of, I was using a utility knife. Now I'm gonna tell you about the utility knife, and I thought it was nothing I could do about it. It had like when they put them in little packs, they put a little oil in between each one of them. I think that might have been my mistake. There's a oil, some kind of oil to keep the blades from rusting, and that's where I could be having an issue with because I could be cutting it and putting that oil on the piece that I'm trying to use, and that's where my issue is. Well, Miss Miller, I'm going to go and start cleaning up and get something to eat. But I gotta say to you right now, it's been fun talking to you. You're one of the only people I got in, and you actually had a conversation. Most time I'm on, and I appreciate some of them that come and they just seem to be just there. But when you get a person that goes in and can tell you what they're doing and what works for them and how they are actually having success, and that helps other people when they can look at what you're writing as well and get that information. It's very important to share the information because we in trouble if we don't learn how to take care of ourselves because the government can't do it. They're not trying to do it. The state, the federal, all of them, they're not trying to do it, and we got to make sure we take care of ourselves. Miss Miller, I got to tell you, and the other person there that's been very quiet, it's been a pleasure. I want to thank you, and you have a good day. I appreciate it.